everybody, it is Julie. Welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I am here with a contemporary recommendation video. Let's jump right into it. As you know, our announcements have come out already for CntemporaryAThon Round 5, and I figured I would do a recommendation video that kind of goes down all of our challenges and just talks about more contemporary books that I really love or that are on my TBR that I haven't read yet. So we're going to jump into some recommendations that might specifically help you with some of the challenges. I started pulling books, like I have a stack right here next to me, but I think I'm going to actually just kind of go through my shelves with you and see what I can find that's already on my bookshelf that fit these challenges, just to kind of show you that it's not that hard to kind of come up with a couple. So again, I pulled some. We'll go over those first, and then we'll just dive into my shelves and see what else we can find. So this might be a little bit more of a casual video, but I feel like you guys are cool with that. 2019 has not been a bad year at all for books. There have been plenty that have been top-notch. I think that I can leave that to you guys to figure out a 2019 release that you're interested in. There's been so many books out this year, like so many new books. And personally, I have a ton of arcs that need to be read that I will probably be using for a lot of these challenges that I'll show you as well, just in case you, on the off chance, happen to have these arcs, or you can get to NetGalley and request them. Or if they come out before the readathon, because some of them are September arcs, so you might be able to request them from your library in time for the readathon since it's towards the end of the month. So that might be an option. I'll show you those as well when we get there. But I'm going to start off with a couple that might count for more than one thing. First up, for yellow, we have The Female of the Species by Minnie McGinnis, which I have read. I did love. It's dark. It's definitely dark, definitely hard-hitting. This one deals with a lot about female anger and abuse and sexual assault. And you know at the beginning of this that we've got a girl who's like, she's kind of okay killing people if she has to. It's just the way things work. So this is yellow. This I don't think has any plant life on it, but it is hard hitting. I also have Far From the Tree by Robin Benway, which has leaves all over it. There is yellow in those leaves, if you can tell, a little bit of yellow in there. So this one is hard hitting. This one is about a trio of siblings who have been put up for adoption. They find each other later in life. So this one definitely has some hard hitting emotional topics in it, has leaves all over the cover, and has yellow all over the cover. So this one could also be diverse, I suppose, if adoption or this kind of a situation is outside of your norm. I have not read Far From the Tree, but it's one that I really want to get to soon. This one could also be an illustrated cover. There are like illustrations all over this, so this one counts for that too. This one would also be an illustrated cover. This is Girl Made of Stars. This one is by Ashley Herring Blake. This one also has yellow on it up in this quadrant. It has foliage, there's some leaves, there's plants, there's flowers on this. So this one covers plants, yellow, illustrated, all of like the cover options, as well as hard hitting. I don't know specifically about diverse, but hard hitting for sure. So this one covers a lot of our different options if this is one that you're interested in. I also know that this is one that gets talked about a lot on BookTube, so you could cover it as beloved as well. Then we've got illustrated. We have yellow, and we have hard hitting. This is Anger is a Gift by Mark Oshiro. This one's also beloved incredibly by Natasha from My Reading is Odd. I have not read this yet. Diverse as well. This one covers a lot of our bases. If this is one that you have on your radar and you have not read yet, that could be a really great option for you. We have The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. This one, I believe, is also following a girl after a rape or sexual assault, I think. Don't quote me on that. I have not read this one yet, but it clearly has plant life on the front and yellow. I have Because You'll Never Meet Me. This one is by Lee Thomas. This one has some yellow and also some illustrations, so that could count for that challenge, or those challenges. We have another yellow and another illustrated and another beloved, Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. This one is a really quick read, great for readathons. If you have not read this yet, I don't know how. This is another one that's very beloved. I adored it. This one is illustrated. We have a whole bunch of drawings on here. We have bees and pads and tampons and pride flags and condoms and menstrual cups. This one is a very sex-positive novel. This one is about a girl who is just tired of the sex ed program at her school, and she's determined to get her friends some better education, so she starts putting out pamphlets. She gets in trouble for it. I really, really liked this one. I read it, I annotated it, I tabbed it. So this one could be illustrated. It could also be a hard-hitting one. There's teenagers that have to unpack a whole lot of stuff in this, so that could count for a couple of different challenges. As well as Girls on the Verge covers similar-ish topics with teen pregnancy. Both of these handle teen pregnancy in very different ways. I will say this one also follows a doula, so there is like graphic portrayal of birth, which is a natural, beautiful thing, but it's also pretty horrific. This one follows more about a story about trying to obtain an abortion. This one follows teen pregnancy that then ends in a birth. Both of them very hard-hitting. This one definitely cuts it with a little bit of humor. This one is really, really just anger-inducing, but really important to read as well. So these are both contemporaries that I really enjoyed in that vein. If you're looking for a book that's following women's rights and how difficult it is for women to control their bodies and have just power over the decisions that they make regarding their bodies, those might be really good reads for you. We also have some more hard-hitting contemporaries here. We have Starfish by Kemi Dawn Bowman, as well as How to Make Friends with the Dark by Kathleen Glasgow. I've not read either of these, but I've heard both are hard-hitting. I would say both of them have illustrated aspects on the covers, so these could count for illustrated, they could count for hard-hitting. I'm not sure about the diversity found within them, but they cover at least a couple of our challenges. So those are options. That's everything that I pulled from my shelves, but I guarantee you there's more behind me, so let's turn around and take a look. We have Eliza and Her Monsters, which is a contemporary that is hard-hitting at times. We've got yellow, we have illustrations. This covers a lot of your bases. It's also beloved by a lot of people. If you haven't read this one yet, this might be a good one for you. This is a very fantasy-heavy shelf, so this is not going to be where we want to go. If you're looking for hard-hitting as well as plants, All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Brent Greenwood is very dark, very, very dark. Covers a lot of topics that are very difficult to read about. I have a full review on my channel as well as on Goodreads. If you just search All the Ugly and Wonderful Things on my channel, you'll be able to find this review. I have a non-spoilery and a spoilery. I clearly had thoughts when I was reading it, but this one has plant life as well as some yellow. I would count that as yellow. So you could use that as a book if you wanted to. I also love Spellbook of the Lost and Found, which has a little bit of like a fantastic aspect to it, but I still think reads like a contemporary. It's very like Summer of Salt-ish in the way that it's portrayed. This one has a lot of plant life on it. So this one I think counts for plant life, as well as a little bit of yellow in here in the flames. So that could be an option. Series Moonlight by Jen Bennett, which has yellow on it and is also diverse. Alex Approximately, tons of yellow on it. Starry Eyes, yellow on it, also diverse. Really love all of these contemporaries. Jen Bennett is fantastic. If you are looking for a hard-hitting contemporary about domestic abuse, about abuse within a relationship, abusive relationships that are mainly verbal and like psychological manipulation, Bad Romance by Heather Demetrios is incredibly impactful. I really enjoyed this book, as hard as it was to read. This one clearly has foliage on it. There's tons of yellow within the picture, within the flowers. It's a gorgeous cover. It's actually a really gorgeous book, even though it's very hard to read. So this one would count for yellow for plants. Just know that it is very hard-hitting. I would be remiss about talking about hard-hitting contemporaries without talking about A Heart and a Body in the World by Deb Coletti, which is also illustrated on the cover. This one is really, really difficult. It follows a girl as she runs from Washington State to Washington, D.C. to just kind of raise awareness for this horrible tragedy that has befallen her and her town. And we don't really find out what that tragedy is until we get partially the way through the book, but it does have a great relationship with her and her grandfather. It follows her. She works through with her therapist as well as just on this run, going through things in her head and just kind of working through what's kind of happened to her. So incredibly impactful, really, really difficult to read at times, but beautiful. So give this one a shot maybe. This one kind of ticks all your boxes. This is Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World. This has yellow on it. It is illustrated. It is diverse. It also, are there plants on here? I mean, technically you could consider that grass and then maybe it would count as something. There's actually flowers illustrated up through here as well. So I think you could count this as flowers illustrated and then also yellow. So like all of your cover things as well as hard-hitting and diverse. This one follows a girl who's in middle school, I believe, after a tornado decimates her town. completely demolishes her house. She loses her notebook, which has all of these thoughts about her and a friend of hers, and this burgeoning feeling that she likes her friend as more than a friend, and that she may not be straight, and what that means for her at this young age. It is incredibly beautiful. It is difficult to read at times just because it has that like young kid angst that doesn't really understand sometimes the way things work, except for 2019 release. This one did not come out in 2019, but other than that, this kind of checks all your boxes. If you have not read yet The Girl with the Red Balloon by Catherine Locke, this one is illustrated. It's also diverse. This follows a Jewish main character, and it's very hard-hitting, like incredibly hard-hitting. I will say, poor Catherine Locke has had to deal with a lot of bullshit regarding her particular monetary gain off of the sales of her books. So if you're going to buy these books, I would say buy the ebooks. Something happened with the publishers and the printers. I don't think she's actually making any money off the sale of her physical books, but go ahead and buy the ebooks of this book or The Spy with the Red Balloon, and then she will be able to get some money off of it. But as it is, I think they're screwing her out of any money that she gets on the physical sales of her books. So if you're interested, I have read this. I do recommend it. I haven't read The Spy with the Red Balloon yet, but this one hits a couple of different topics for you if you're interested. Some yellow and some illustration. This is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey, which is super, super smutty. If you're into that and that's what you want for this read, that would be a great one for you. This one is about mental health. If you do not suffer from any kind of mental health, kudos, man. I don't know anybody in my life who doesn't. But this one is illustrated, and I guarantee you it's going to be hard-hitting. I have not read this one yet, but it does look pretty amazing, and I believe this is diverse. This does follow an Asian American or just Asian main character. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Dress Codes for Small Towns. I'm just pulling everything off my shelves. This is illustrated. This has yellow on the cover, and I don't know about hard hitting or like any of the internal things that are going on. Brandy Colbert's Little and Lion has yellow down here. It's got some plants on here. This is a contemporary. This one's also diverse. It follows Leave. There is a black mother, a black daughter, and then I want to say maybe a Jewish stepfather and stepbrother, but I don't quote me on that. But this one is diverse. It does have flowers. That is an illustrated flower, and it does have yellow, so Little in Line could be an option for you. Red, White, and Royal Blue is certainly illustrated. Very, very cute, very diverse. A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahara Mafi, which does have some yellow on the cover there. This one is diverse. It does follow a Muslim American girl as she deals with the fallout after 9/11 and just Islamophobia that takes place at her school as she tries to navigate the hallways. I just listened to the audiobook of this one. Really, really loved it. So this could be an option for you. Frederick Backman here. Frederick Backman has a little bit of like a yellowy green down here, a little bit of yellow writing up here. This also has a mountain range with a ton of forestry on it. That would count for foliage. This also has a hard-hitting premise. This one, it covers a town after a rape. So this has a lot of your options too. I think that counts as yellow. This counts as foliage. It counts as hard-hitting. Those are your options. I can't tell, but this looks vaguely illustrated. Like it's definitely, whatever picture was on here has definitely been modified. So I would say you could probably count that as illustrated as well. That Night by Amy Giles, which I believe is also a hard-hitting contemporary, has some yellow on the cover. Don't know much else about that. I'm not seeing any plant life, but yellow and hard-hitting. The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I would go ahead and say some of this down here could be considered yellow. This mountain range is definitely covered in trees. This plain's actually a little bit yellow. This could be foliage yellow. Also, I've heard that it is hard-hitting. Let's see what else we have here, shall we? Permanent Record comes out on September 3rd, so this will totally be out by the time the readathon starts. This is an illustrated cover. It has yellow all over it. I'm assuming that the finished will as well. So this could be yellow and illustrated. Infinite Noise. This one is diverse. This does feature a male-male romance. This also has some yellow, and it is illustrated. This comes out on September. I don't know when. But that could be an option. We have The Babysitter's Coven, which I'm going to go ahead and consider a contemporary. This one is illustrated. We have Rewind, which is a psychological thriller about a girl who gets murdered at an Airbnb, I believe. There's yellow on the cover of that one. And then we have Dear Haiti Love Elaine. This one comes out on September 3rd. This has plants on it. Her glasses are yellow and it's illustrated. This one's also diverse. So this covers a whole bunch of your bases as well, if you're interested in that. I have started this, I just haven't finished it. That could be an option for you as well if you want to look that one up, or if you have access to it, or you want to recommend it for your library, or put a hold on your library so that you have it by the time the readathon comes along. That could be an option as well. We have Famous in a Small Town, which has yellow up here, and then actually all of these are flower petals. So that would count as foliage. So this is a contemporary with yellow and foliage. Not quite illustrated though, but that could be an option for you. It's not my favorite Emma Mills, but it's not the worst either. All right guys, a couple more suggestions for you. We have Heroine by Mindy McGinnis. This one is very, very dark. This one I think probably only has the fact that it's dark going for it, as well as that it's a 2019 release, I believe. Yes, it is. So this is a 2019 release that is very hard hitting. This is about a girl who gets in an accident, gets hooked on pain meds, runs out of pain meds, and starts a heroin addiction. I have not read this yet, but it's been on my radar and something that I want to read for a very long time. So I hope to get to that one soon. Then we have Autobiography by Christina Larn. This one has yellow. It is illustrated up there. There is a tree down here, if you can see it. So that would count as some foliage. Like, it's a tree, but it counts. That is plant life. So yellow plant, illustrated, and this one is diverse as well. It does follow a male-male romance, or has, I believe, aspects of a male-male romance in it. I haven't read it yet. We have Heartstopper, which is illustrated. This is also diverse. I believe these are falling leaves, so that one counts as leaves and foliage on the cover, which is fantastic. Volume 2 just came out. I don't know if Volume 2 has anything on it in terms of yellow. I haven't actually read this yet. I need to. Honestly, I don't know what's wrong with me. And then last up is going to be Hollow Kingdom by Kara Jane Buxton. This one has tons of foliage around it. It does have an illustrated cover. This one, I guess you could call it diverse. I mean, it's from the POV of an animal, which I am not. I don't judge you if that's how you identify. If you're a bird, cool. But this one was really, really different, and I really liked it, and I recommend it. So this one just came out in 2019 as well, if you're interested. So that's been everything for my recommendation videos. If you're still struggling on any one of the challenges for this particular readathon, let me know in a comment down below. But like I said, this is just stuff that I was able to pull off my shelves kind of right now as I went to film. So I don't think any of them this round are particularly difficult. If something is still stumping you, definitely let me know. If you have a question about if something counts or not, it probably does, but go ahead and comment down below and I'll let you know. Like we've said before, we are really, really chill about our TBRs and about the readathon. We just want you guys to have fun reading with us. Be sure to check out all of the co-hosts listed down below, as well as our Instagram account, because Melanie is crushing the game over on Instagram, and there will be photo challenges over there. Definitely be sure to check out all of that listed down below. That's going to be it for this particular video. If you liked it, be sure to give me a big thumbs up, click subscribe, and I'll see all of you in my next video. Bye, guys.